But I think for me, the key thing about Andy is that he's known every one of us for a different length of time, but he treats us all equally. And certainly what he does do is he's got this passion and drive that he passes down to all of us with his clear vision. And I think Andy's vision is probably a shared vision from all of us, which is about improving the lives of Leeds' most vulnerable people, which is why we're all here, to work with people with learning disabilities.
I think that was one of the first things I noticed about him, was his ability to, I saw him in an interview situation where he was talking to executives, he was talking to directors, but then he would also be able to turn and talk to a table of people with a learning disability. It was just straightforward. He just knew how to communicate at different levels with everybody.
He's actually driven by the people that we actually serve. Yeah. It's all about the individuals. And he takes a personal interest in every detail of what's happening to those individuals. And you can go with him to almost any site and he'll be greeted by individuals that have known him for years, and greeted warmly,
yeah,
which isn't always the case.
And I think he's incredibly generous with his time and with his knowledge and his experience. So even in his most sort of rushed days, he'll always share with you information and kind of give you guidance. But he also has that, he really places trust and confidence in his staff team to deliver on the vision. He's very good at articulating the vision and taking people with him, and then trusting you to get on with it and deliver it. And he's always the first to say thank you and well done.
It's not only his time he's generous with either. From a corporate perspective, I'm still doing work for children's services, transport, finance, provider services, that's providing them with data about other things than us. So I'm actually seeing someone on Monday about developing software for them, and that's just time that he's donating.
I think what Andy does is, now that we're not part of the council, he's still enforcing the same values that he did when we were part of the council. He's always talking about the Leeds Pound. He's always making sure that Leeds City Council is getting good value for money from our contract, which is quite admirable in many respects, and it's something that he's always driven forward with us in terms of efficiencies and making sure that we have a high quality service that impacts on the lives of everybody in Leeds, not just people with a learning disability.
He cares and is fair.
Yeah. I think when I was trying to think if I could just today be asked to sum it all up in one sentence, I think for me it was, he, as a leader, he inspires me to try harder, try new things, work harder, and ultimately achieve more.
And in respect of the difference he's made to people's lives, I think we need to look back at the ILP, where people were living in large shared hostel type accommodation, and he led that project, as well as now the day service modernisation project, where people have much better opportunities during the day as well. So he's major projects he's been involved in that have made such a huge difference to people, really.
Yeah, and I met Andy, I think it was about 20 years ago when he was I know Peter had met him a long time before that, but I met him 20 years ago when he was a social worker for someone I supported. And as a social worker then, he always wanted the best. He used to challenge us and make sure we provided the best service. And yet, he was doing that for 20, 30, 40 other people who were on his caseload.
I guess I ought to mention the length of time I've known him. It's a bit embarrassing really, because I was a manager in Leeds when he started in 1984 as a care assistant working with children at Brimcold. I think one of the things that makes him stand out, yes, he led the ILP project, but he also led the social work team. in care management at White Rose House. But he's done all the jobs that we all do. Perhaps there's a slight exception with some of the work that David does around IT, but in terms of providing support and care to people, he's done all the jobs, and I think that's why people have got a very healthy and warm respect for him, because when he's talking to them, they know that he understands their job and understands what their experience is, because he's been there and done it.
He knows where the bodies are buried.
Yeah. I wasn't going to mention that. Yeah, he's and as Carol said, he leads you, and he encourages you to do a better job as well, which is one of the things that particularly makes him stand out as different to a lot of other people.
He's the only person I know besides me who does email on the beach.
Yeah.
Mm.
You use that, Wilson.